So many non-native English speakers keep making this mistake over and over again, and it is pacing. More specifically, not varying the pace in which they speak English, especially in more formal, professional, and business settings. What is pacing in speech? Your pace is the relative speed at which you speak. You can think of it almost as like a rhythm, or the speed in which your words are spoken. Try and imagine a conversation as a verbal dance, and pacing is how fast or slow that dance moves. Now, when we talk about pacing, it's not just about speaking quickly or slowly in a conversation. It's about using pauses, short breaks in between words and sentences in order to break up different thoughts and topics within the dance of the conversation. These pauses are really important because they give the listener a moment to understand and process what's being said. For example, if you're telling someone an exciting story, you might speed up to show your enthusiasm. On the other hand, if you want to emphasize a point or let the listener have some time to think, they might slow down how quickly they're telling the story or even use a pause. So, in simple terms, pacing is like the speed and rhythm of talking, and it helps make communication clear, interesting, and easy to follow. It's like the musical beat of a conversation. How does pacing help you sound more natural when you speak English? Pacing is extremely important and a often overlooked part of language learning that is way too often missed or completely ignored in most traditional foreign language classes. It really is a subtle part of speaking a foreign language that can really help you sound more natural when you speak English, and more importantly, stop you sounding more robotic and not as expressive as you might be in your native language. Here are some benefits for mastering pacing in English. Pacing reflects emotions and intentions, and pacing allows you to convey these different emotions and intentions in your speech. For example, speaking faster can express excitement or urgency to the listener, while slowing down can emphasize or show that you've reached an end of a point that you're making. Another benefit pacing has is that it enhances the clarity of your speech. Proper pacing, including well-timed pauses, gives your audience or the listener time to process the information that you're telling them. It helps avoid sounding rushed or unclear. Pauses in particular are a really powerful way to emphasize a point you're making and let that point sink in. Another benefit is that you'll sound more like a native speaker by adopting pacing in your own English. Native speakers naturally vary the pace in which they speak. Mimicking this variation helps you blend in and appear more like a native speaker without having to do the long process of shadowing and practicing speaking. It really does contribute to a natural flow to your conversations in English. While pacing also really does engage the listener and helps maintain their interest. But the most important reason why you need to master pacing is that it expresses confidence to the audience or the listener. Controlled, well-timed pauses can make you sound more confident. It shows to the listener that you're in command of the conversation, even if you're not an English native speaker. And by doing so, native speakers will think that you're more confident, which is extremely important for taking advantage of career opportunities in English speaking scenarios. Now, if you've been enjoying these tips and want to accelerate your English progress even faster with my personalized help, then consider applying for my English coaching program. That will help you go from frustrated and limited to super confident and fluent, so you can take advantage of career opportunities in English speaking scenarios. You can book a free consultation call with me, link in the description and first pinned comment, to see how I can help you achieve your goals. If you're someone who wants more accountability and the actual transformation that I provide, then make sure you book the call to see how I can help you. Now, with that out of the way, let's get back to the video. Now, you might have heard what I've been saying and think to yourself, but I can't understand English native speakers. They speak way too fast. I don't even hear any pauses. If this sounds like you, then mastering pacing and the different contexts in which native speakers vary their pace could help. Now, we all change our speaking rates depending on a variety of factors. The average speaking rate for a native speaker in the US is between 140 and 170 words per minute. For those who do speaking for a living, so they might have a podcast, have a radio show, host a talk show, or anything else similar to that, their conversational speech can be even faster. Meanwhile, in everyday casual conversations between friends and family, the pacing is usually more relaxed. People tend to vary their pacing depending on the context, their comfort level, and the dynamics of the conversation. While for many non-native speakers, they might have been told by their English teacher or received advice online to slow down and speak more slowly, I don't think that advice is as helpful as it should be. And that is far more beneficial for a non-native speaker to focus on changing up their pacing. Maybe speak faster when you're excited about something and slower when you want to make a point, rather than always speaking slowly. Here's how to practice and eventually master pacing. Your individual speaking rate depends on two factors. First, how fast your first language is spoken. And second, if you're naturally a fast talker in your native language. Personally, my speaking rate is not super fast, but not super slow either. It's somewhere in the middle and changes depending on who I'm talking to. So with one of my students, my speaking rate declines, but if I'm with friends or family, my speaking rate is definitely on the higher level. You two probably have a general idea of the kind of talker you are. So if you're not entirely sure about your speaking rates, this is what I want you to do. Choose a prompt, article, or script that you can think of and respond to within 1 minute. If you have a smartphone or a computer with a microphone, use an app with a speech-to-text capability. You can also use tools like a free one called IBM Watson that you can find online. This will allow you easily count the number of words you can say in a minute. Using your phone or microphone attached to your computer, respond to the prompt in step 1. For 1 minute, of course, you can take time to think about what you want to say first. Then, once that minute is up, count the number of words you said in that minute, or copy and paste the number of words you said onto a document and use the free word count tool to count the number of words for you. That number is your rough speaking rate in words per minute. I would recommend that you do this several times because your speaking rate might vary depending on the topic or how nervous you feel when you start recording yourself speaking another language. And just take the average from those different recordings to be your words per minute rate. Now, how fast or slowly you speak will heavily depend on your native language, which usually spills over into your second language, because some languages are faster than others. According to studies, French, Spanish, and Japanese have the highest words per minute rate of all the major languages in the world. So, if you're a native speaker of one of those languages, you need to be aware of how fast you speak English. By the way, if you're enjoying these tips so far and want more videos like this, make sure to smash that like button so I know. Now, hopefully you've done and understand your word per minute rate and understand whether you need to slow down or speed up. If you speak very fast in English, then you need to include more pauses and slow down once you've reached the end of a thought or statement, which will give the listener time to understand what you're trying to say. On the other hand, if you're someone who speaks English very slowly, it's very important to increase your words per minute rate, particularly when you are excited or enthusiastic about a topic you're talking about. And also to remember to include short pauses in important parts of your speech or when you want to emphasize something, instead of pausing all the time because you are speaking very slowly. Contrary to popular belief, whether an English native speaker trusts what a non-native speaker is saying doesn't depend on their accent, as long as they sound confident of what they're saying. By including pacing into your own English, it can contribute massively to you appearing more confident in English. To improve your pacing, a great way is to shadow a native speaker. Shadowing is just finding a person you admire or enjoy listening to or love their accent and trying to mimic them as close as possible. But rather than listening to a sentence or stopping and repeating what they're saying, to improve your pacing, play a video and try and mimic what they say as close as natively possible at the same time without pausing. At first, it will be really difficult and tire out your mouth. But by doing this, you'll start to develop the muscles in your mouth for speaking English more natively and also start to naturally acquire the kind of pacing that English speakers use. What I strongly recommend is to find a nice long video, preferably 10 to 20 minutes of them talking without a pause. Do this in a very quiet room if you feel self-conscious, or maybe pretend that you're on a call with your headphones and do it that way. Try to do this every single day at least once and you'll definitely see the results. Another way to practice improving your pacing is to find a large text or maybe even write it yourself and include notes of when you want to speak faster, when you want to speak slower, and pauses. You can find either an article online or write a presentation or a story and read it out loud. Preferably, I would strongly recommend you record yourself reading it aloud and then note times that you feel like you should speak faster or slower, or maybe even include a pause to give the listener time to understand what you're saying. Do this over and over and over again until you're happy and feel like your recording is as close as natively possible with the pacing and pausing, and then move on to the next one. This more active way of changing the pace of your speech will really make you appear more confident and feel more like a native speaker. And honestly, if you do this every day, you'll really see the results. Being mindful of your pacing and remembering when to use pauses are your best friends for sounding more natural in English. And remember, sound more confident, place pauses at the end of your sentence in combination with your voice becoming softer, and you'll be surprised at how much more confident you'll sound and feel when you speak English. If you want my personalized help in improving your English faster and more effectively, then consider applying for my online English coaching program. If you're someone that needs more accountability and want the actual English transformation that we provide inside of it, we can have a chat to see how I can help you go from limited and frustrated to super confident and fluent, so you can capitalize on career opportunities in English speaking scenarios. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure to book a free consultation call to see how I can help you. Now you understand the art of pacing and how it can help you improve your confidence and communication skills in English, you might be wondering how to actually improve your English this year. If that's you, make sure to watch this video here where I'll give you a guide for improving your English this year. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button. And if you want even more free lessons just like this, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!